Just do it.
So persistent pollutants, know the difference between the two. They are both matched. Yeah.
You know how like dogs get scared of earthquakes?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, that'd be a biological indicator.
And cows do something in their tornado or something.
Possibly, I don't know about that one. Possibly.
There's some, I feel like, isn't there some kind of animal that can like tell if the hurricane's coming or something?
Possibly, I don't know. That's the question. Okay, so biological, bio means what? Living, so they're living animals, they're living things that indicate changes in the environment, indicate issues, indicate problems. The polar bear is the one that you'll be given on your PAT because they show that, hey, there's no more ice for me to walk on. Okay, I'm in an area that I shouldn't be. I'm where the grizzly bears are. That shouldn't happen. Okay, so polar bears are a biological indicator of global warming, of ice melting. Okay, there's biological indicators for water quality, pH levels, oxygen, lots of stuff. They're living things that indicate or tell us how the environment is doing. Okay, so if we're at a lake, we want to go fishing. We go there and all the fish are belly up, they all died. What's probably the issue with that water? There's not enough what?
Pretty warm.
Maybe it's too warm.
Dirty.
Maybe it's too dirty.
It's not enough
Use usually oxygen, right? So for any fishermen, Police Lake had that issue in the winter. Not enough oxygen killed all the fish. That's a biological indicator.
How do you lose oxygen?
Because there's not enough plants in there, aquatic plants, or they don't turn on the aerators in the winter, which they turn them off. Anyways, biological indicators, a living animal or an organism that tells you a change in the environment. Okay, here's some examples. Your example will most likely be a polar bear.
Where'd you play today?
No, that's it. Yes. Kenyon, question?
You watching our game today?
Yeah. I might. Okay, so I want you to look at this chart here. Let's practice our source analysis. So looking at a chart, looking at a picture, and pulling out information. So these are all three examples of what? Biological indicators. You know that because we just talked about it, but you should be able to know this just by looking at it. Because it's talking about the environment and climate and ecosystem that it's in. It's talking about oxygen in the water. Okay? So there's really good amounts of oxygen, okay amounts of oxygen, and really bad amounts of oxygen. So we go on a field trip to a lake. You want to go swimming? And Park Lake, for example. And there's a ton of leeches. Okay, we step in there, leeches all over our legs. What does that tell us about that water?
It's got very good oxygen.
Low amounts of oxygen. Okay, that's a biological indicator. So should we go fishing at Park Lake?
No.
Not gonna be good fish. Okay, what about here? Lots of dragonflies, maybe some crayfish.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's okay. Okay, but we go and there's stonefly nymphs. Fish love these things. Mayfly nymphs. That means the water's really good. We want to go fishing here. Okay? So they indicate or tell us the quality of the water. These are examples of biological indicators.
Did you swim in a place that has leeches?
Have I? Yeah. Not.
I have. Have you ever swum in a place where you swim for like 5 minutes and then there's like 29 leeches on you?
Park Lake.
I went to the
I swim every day.
disc golf course
Yeah.
looking for discs, not going to the pool.
Yeah, there's leeches in
And when I
there.
picked up my disc, yeah, they didn't want me to.
Yeah.
Yeah, position is our dog, okay, that's what we go.
Yeah. Okay, these are our last two for this section. A point source and a non-point source. So these are once again pollutants. So we already talked about two types of pollutants. What were they? Persistent and non-persistent. Okay. So these are talking about not what type of pollutant it is, persistent and non-persistent. This is talking about how the pollutant is spread or how it enters the environment or ecosystem. So a point source means it's at a certain point. It's all in one area. So if I have let's say we have an oil rig and a pipe breaks and there is tons and tons of oil draining out, that is a point source. It's all coming from one point or one spot. We can fix that pretty easily. Okay. Or if we have one truck that dumps garbage in the same spot every day into the water, it's a point source. We know where it's coming from. There's a specific location. We can stop it easier. Okay, a non-point source is we don't know where it's coming from. We can't really stop it. It's spread out. Acid rain, for example. You can't stop acid rain. Okay. You can't, if I spray an entire field with pesticides and it seeps into the water, you can't tell where that came from. Is it from this field? Is it from Mr. Stewart's field? Is it from DJ's field? You can't really know. So point source and non-point source means, can you tell or find the location of where the pollutant is coming from? Does that make sense? Point source, non-point source.
Ow.
All right. Okay, Parker. I had this new exotic plant that we made in the science lab. Okay, it's supposed to be groundbreaking. It's supposed to make way more oxygen than trees. I plant it in an entire forest, and it ends up killing all the animals, poisoning all the water. What type of source is that pollutant?
Point source?
Point source?
Nonsense. You know the forest that I just put in?
Okay, but how many? Like what plant is it coming from? What part of the forest? Is it all of them? Is it one of them?
You don't know.
Can we tell that? No, so we can't tell where it's coming from. What is it? Non-point source. Perfect. Okay? But we're swimming on the beach and there's a cruise ship. And they have a bunch of leftover, let's say, oil from their fryers. They're done cooking French fries. They have nasty, dirty, deep fryer oil. And they keep dumping it. Same ship all the time. Dump it into the water. What would that be? Point source. Why is it a point source?
Specific location.
Perfect. Specific location, easier to fix. Okay? So you'll be given a couple of sources of pollutants. You need to know if it's point source or non-point source. Okay, so if you can pinpoint the location, this is what's causing the pollution, we can fix it, it's a point source. If it's, I have no idea, it's somewhere in this area, it's one of these things, you don't know,
If you
non-point
know
source.
what it is, we can't fix it.
If you know the exact location, it would still be a point source. That's a good question. Okay, last set of notes for this topic, and we are done. Okay. Hopefully some experiments we can catch up. We're inching closer. We're almost there. Okay. Okay. Also, I added some slides on here for your entertainment, and it's for certain group members. You'll know who you are when it comes to group projects. And this isn't just for this environmental project you did. This is for all projects. Let's enjoy this together before we get into our assignments here. So, during your class project, during our environmental issues project, let's divide work equally and present it together. Other group members, Jim Halpern. So some of you are Jim Halperns, some of you are Dwight's.
I'm Dwight.
Okay, next one. When there's a group project, but you do all the work. Bri, and Bri.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
Or London, and London.
She's the one that has the only one.
No, but just I've been this person. where I'm with someone very smart, and all right, Alan, you take it away. Nothing worse. Brian, Zach, Cody, and Dax to a T.
Uh-oh.
One of you, can you have this done by Thursday? We'll have time to rewrite it and hand it in. Betcha. Here. So the red part's the important part, but doing group projects teaches us how to work with other people a little bit, how to do it all on my own, even though I'm in groups, and how much I hate working with other people. Should be more.
It's like all the slivers of
This is words of wisdom here. You should be on a T-shirt.
oh yeah.
One last time. We all have that group member who's supposed to bring the tape, forgets it. Supposed to share the document, forgets it. Supposed to submit it, forgets it. Oh, we have some red faces, some guilty culprits. Yeah, we've already done that. So this won't be on your PAT. I haven't seen it yet, but they have it in. So just be aware of it, just in case. NIMBY just stands for not in my backyard. The acronym is not important, but what it stands for is important. So write it down and let's have a chat about it. Okay, Haley over here.
I was talking to one. I was summarizing it to something. Did you hear? I was singing to the
I've heard you all class. Yes, I have heard you. Jack's right there by me.
Why to move now?
No, you've been great.
I've been great.
Right there by
Let's do that. I can do good things.
Go, Dax, do by me.
What I do.
Not fully.
You were looking at me funny.
It's you, Lucas, and Cody. Who's the culprit?
He was scared.
Parker, who's the disruptive one out of the triangle? Who's the disruptive one out of the triangle? Lucas is.
He
He turns around every time. I drop something on
Okay, I'll give you one more chance. I'm watching who it is.
He dropped something on the ground.
Okay,
and I
Lucas will be facing this way, and you two are paying attention. I'm watching. Okay, not in my backyard. So, acronym's not important. Here's what it's important. So, what not in my backyard means is this is disgusting. This is terrible for the environment, but this doesn't happen in McGrath. We're not doing this. This is somewhere else. So, this does not affect me. It does not influence me. Okay, one, that's not true because they'll talk about microplastics. And although this is happening, let's say in the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, it's far, far away from us, how can this come back to affect us, these plastics?
No.
The fish we eat, the fish digest them, the seafood we eat. That's one example. Okay?
Have you ever eaten
So,
Don't eat seafood.
what?
I drink seafood.
Don't eat seafood?
No.
Well, there's so much crap and other stuff we'll get you onto it. Okay, so what this means is just because it's not happening or you don't know that it's happening right here, right now, doesn't mean it's not happening, Kenyon, and it doesn't mean that it's not affecting us. That is the important part. So they'll say, this is happening in Sweden. Why is this important for us to be aware of in Canada? Why do we need to know about this? How can this affect us? Although it's not in my backyard, why is this important? Well,
It's right.
we will eat the food that this will influence. We use the water that this will influence. Right? It will come back to affect us eventually. Okay, so just because we can't see it, just because it's not directly in front of us, does not mean that it doesn't affect us. That is what this means. That is what you need to know for your short answer question. It won't say what does NIMBY stand for. No, it'll
Not in my
be not in my backyard.
NIMBY.
But it just means just because this isn't happening in McGrath doesn't mean it doesn't affect us and it's not important.
Do we get bonus marks if you know what NIMBY means?